CFAB estimates there are 8,000 children from abroad living with somebody else in unregulated arrangements in the UK. These children are being cared for by someone other than their parents. Decisions about the children will be made by strangers, family, friends, or close relatives. Many children will be fine. They will thrive and have regular contact with their parents overseas. Many others will not be okay, and for those children there is something we can all do to help make a difference in their lives. We can ask the question, whose child, to help to identify the private arrangement that has been made. By law, their carers are required to notify their children's social work department of this private arrangement. This arrangement is known as a private fostering arrangement because it is a private arrangement made between the birth parents and the carer. For many reasons, the carer may not notify the social work department. It is, however, a legal requirement and will simply involve the social worker assessing the situation and making sure the child is safe and well. Most importantly, it will provide an opportunity for the child to be able to share their wishes and feelings and to have somebody independent to talk to. They and their carers can receive advice, information, and help. Unfortunately, some children get lost in the system. They feel confused about their circumstances and do not always know why they are not living with their family. Some can suffer abuse by simply being passed from carer to carer, and no responsible adult having any oversight for them. The good news is there are some simple things we can all do to help children from overseas living in unregulated care arrangements in the UK. CFAB has links with over 120 countries, and we can help to find their parents and work towards reunification plans for the children. This film captures the experiences of 3 young people who found themselves in unregulated private fostering arrangements in the UK.
My name is Chen Mei and I'm from Southeast Asia. My parents arranged for me to come to the UK to live with their friends when I was 15 years old. I wanted to be a doctor. I called my parents' friends, uncle and auntie. They both worked full-time, so I did the cooking and cleaning and look after their children. They said I was paying my way. When the children were at school, I went to the local college. The teachers never asked me about my life or who I lived with. I only spoke to my parents on the phone when my auntie was there. They told me to be good and study hard. I wasn't happy. I asked my auntie if I could go back home, but she said I couldn't. She said my parents would be disappointed in me. One day, I really lost my temper and shouted at my uncle. He threw me out. I was 17. I had nowhere to go and sought refuge at my church. I was destitute. The housing authority said they couldn't help me because I didn't have the right documents. My auntie and uncle lost my passport and I had no visa. I'm not allowed to work either. I've been staying with friends from church for a year now, but I know I can't do that forever. I'm so worried about my future. I haven't spoken to my parents in a long time. I don't know what to do, and I feel lost.
In Chen Mei's situation, early identification and intervention could have made a real difference. The earlier a privately fostered child is identified, the greater their chances of a positive outcome. Children can have a say about their care arrangements, get immigration advice, and be aware of their rights within the UK. Professionals working with children, such as teachers and school nurses, can play a crucial role in identifying children like Chen Mei and making a referral. Privately fostered children may call their carers uncle or aunt, but they may not be related to each other. We must not assume their carers are related or legally able to take care of children like Chen Mei. Unless the carer has obtained parental rights through a UK court, they will not have any parental responsibility for the child. Only the child's parents have the right to make decisions about their education, living arrangements and medical treatment.
My name is Miriam, and I was born in West Africa. My father died when I was young, and I came to the UK with my mum when I was 8. We lived together with a friend of my father and his family. Last year, my mum went back to Africa to care for my grandma who was ill. My mum said I should stay with the family in the UK and continue at school, and she'd be coming back soon anyway. I stayed with my dad's friend and his family. I've always called him Uncle. One day, my uncle's neighbour told him that he should tell social services that I was living with him without my mum. He said he had to do this by law. I felt like we was going to get into trouble, and I was scared I'd have to live somewhere else. But when my uncle called them and the social worker came round, it was all fine. She said this was a private fostering arrangement, and she talked to me and my uncle about our situation. She asked me how I felt about living there, and she spoke to my mum on the phone, and she asked my uncle if he needed any support or advice. I got my own social worker, and that was good. We talked about any worries I had and what I want to do in the future. She helped me find a really good drama group in town. I speak to my mum a lot. I hope she can come back soon because I really miss her. But I'm happy with my uncle and his family, and I feel like this is my home.
Children like Miriam travel to the UK to live with somebody else. Some children will travel with their parents and be dropped off, whilst others will be escorted by an agent. A few will be aware of why they are leaving home for several years, but others will not be told or even consulted beforehand. Children will not be aware of their arrangements beforehand and will not always know their carers. Many will meet them for the first time when they arrive in the UK. Often children can remain in the UK without any official documents. This means when they are 16 years old, they will not be entitled to work, go to college, or live independently. There is a great risk that they can become homeless, stateless, and vulnerable adults. The opportunity to have helped children earlier would have been lost by the time they reach 16 and 17 years old.
My name is Matthew, and I was born in Africa. I came to the UK with my mum and my sister, Miriam, when I was 2. I don't remember my life before then. As we got older, Miriam started to argue with our mum, and the situation at home got worse and worse. Mum always seemed angry with us. Miriam started staying out late and skipping school. Sometimes mum got violent. One day she really hurt Miriam. Then she had to go hospital. After that, a social worker came to see us. We were taken to stay with a foster carer because of the abuse. The social worker told us our mum didn't have our correct documents. They asked us to do a DNA test because they didn't think she was our real mum. When the results came back, I was speechless. She wasn't our mum. We found out she's the second cousin of our real mum. Our mother had brought us here and left us with her. Maybe she wanted to give us a better life. But our real mum had gone back to her country a long time ago, and the woman who brought us up didn't have her contact details anymore. We haven't been able to trace her. We found out we came here on a visitor's visa which ran out years ago. Our social worker got us some legal advice about immigration. Sometimes I worry we'll have to go back. That's not our home anymore. We've been living with our foster carer for a few years now, and things are better. We feel a lot more secure, but I hate not knowing where we came from and what really happened to us. I hope one day I'll be able to find my real mum. For now, I just want to have a normal life.
In many instances, young people will be happy and thrive in their new care arrangements. Sadly, some will suffer from abuse, like domestic servitude or sexual exploitation. Where they are deemed to be at risk, they can live with approved foster carers, and work can be done to help find their family. Early identification of children separated from their families overseas can assist with planning their future. All 3 children in this film, for whatever reason, were unable to be cared for by their parents. The children lived with adults who were responsible for their day-to-day care and made important decisions for them. By law, their carers are required to notify their social work departments that they are caring for somebody else's child. All 3 children relied on those who have contact with them, like their doctor, school, housing officer, and neighbour, to identify them as being separated. If you are aware of a child from abroad living with somebody other than their parent, you may have identified a private fostering arrangement. You can help by making a referral to your children's social work department. Let them know you are aware of a child from abroad living with somebody else who may not have parental responsibility for them. You can also contact CFAB on 0207 735 8941 for free advice and support. At CFAB, we will try our best to use our network of 120 countries to help children and their families. CFAB is inviting you to join us to work in the children's best interests and help thousands of children to have as normal a life as possible.